Hi dolls, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you guys are new. My name is China, and of course this is the life of a China doll. So in today's video, as you guys can see, we are about to get into the final episode of this 3-part series of me telling you guys my story. But first and foremost, we're gonna open up this bottle of champagne. So grab your glass, girl, grab your favorite snack even, and let's get into it. Alright, so this right here is a bottle of Bel Air that I have been having for the last couple of years. I've been saving it because I'm like, I'm gonna save it for a special occasion. I'm gonna save it when I do this, I'm gonna save it when I do that. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it today. You know why? Because this bottle of Bel Air is the bottle I got for my 21st birthday, and I know I didn't tell you guys everything that happened around that time, but just stay tuned, we're gonna get into it. But it just symbolizes when I entered my 21st birthday, it was like a rebirth for me. I found my spark again, I found my why again, and that is what really helped catapult me into this new version of myself. I am so proud of myself and everything that I have done in these last few years. Literally from when I was telling you guys back in 2019 to 2026, these last 7 years have been a hell of a journey, literally. So I'm just so proud of myself, and I want to make sure I say that because y'all need to make sure y'all telling yourselves you are proud of you as well. Don't wait on somebody else, don't wait on super big accomplishments, because finding yourself, choosing yourself, getting yourself out of sticky and bad situations, that is enough to celebrate. So let's open this bottle. I don't know if it's gonna pop everywhere. I just feel like this is just a celebratory moment of myself and how far I've come. Anyways, let's see. I'm nervous. I just hope it doesn't splash everywhere. Let's come over here. Come on, let's come over here. Here's my cute champagne glass. I made this with myself. So cutesy. Here's the bottle, just so y'all can get a closer look. All right, let's see. I'm nervous. It's coming out. Can y'all see it? I'm so scared. Woo! Yay! Oh gosh. So let's pour us up a cup. I forgot I gotta tilt it sideways. Cheers to a new me. Cheers to new life. There we go, queens. So do you have your glass? Pour up. Okay, you guys, I got my glass. Cheers. Woo. Let's test it. Let's taste it. It's good. All right. Wow. Oh my gosh, y'all, finally popped the bottle. Oh my freaking goodness. This is so crazy. I'm so glad I did. I'm so proud of myself. I can't keep saying it because I feel like a lot of the times, I know I don't really be giving myself enough credit, or I used to not give myself enough credit as far as knowing or acknowledging how far I've come from certain situations, from different behaviors, habits, mindsets, all of those things, and we're changing that completely. Life can be bittersweet at times. Life is challenging for sure, and you have to really enjoy those good moments, even the small little things. Make sure you're enjoying it, because the lows be low, you know, they be low, but those highs, they make it worth it. I'm just like saying, just you gotta savor all the moments, the bitter moments, the sweet moments, and just be proud of yourself for making it through. And I'm so proud of myself for making it through every stage that I have made it through these last few years. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported me on this journey so far, for everybody who's watched my videos and liked and commented and just supported me and showed me love throughout this whole journey, and also for your patience, because I know these videos have come out almost 2 weeks apart, and that literally wasn't on purpose. I just did not anticipate for the whole process between filming and editing and just getting ready to upload to take so long, but it did. So I just appreciate everybody who still watch my videos. There's so many lessons and gems that y'all can learn just from my experiences alone, and I want to pass that to you guys. And like I always say, this is also to my past self and to my future self, who's gonna look back at this, and my children are gonna look back at this, my grandkids, my cousin, all of the people are going to be able to look back at this and learn, because I know I'm not the only person that has gone through this situation, and I'm not going to be the last. So I just want to say thank you to you guys as well. And if this is your first time seeing me, absolutely pause and go watch the other 2 videos first, or if you want to just skip to the end, that's your business, sister, but just make sure you go watch the other videos as well so you can get the full picture of what all happened and everything. Y'all, this is strong. Oh my god, I feel it a little bit already. I only had 1 sip. Anyways, oh girl, it's nice though. It's really nice. All right, so you guys, we left off with me telling you guys about my birthday, and basically as I'm turning 21 and all of the couple of things I just told you guys before, going out with my aunt, listening to the new Renaissance album, it's like a spark was just lit in me, and I just realized more so who I wanted to be and what I came out here for. And that's what started my It Girl diaries that I did, that I started posting around that time. I think this was what, 2022. So like I said, you can literally see all these videos down my YouTube channel as well to really back it up. So I started the It Girl diaries, and it was just me becoming more confident, more bold, and allowing myself to just be me and be free. So as I'm realizing these things, or just starting to implement it more, I'm doing my hair more, I'm taking care of myself, and I'm just getting back into my creativeness. Yeah, so I'm getting back into my creativeness. My birthday approaches. This is when I made my Polaroid dress. I did my own at-home photo shoot for my birthday. I got a really cute cake, but this birthday, it wasn't really a bad birthday at all. I would say it was definitely way better than my 20th birthday. Way better. My friends came into town, and I loved them so much for that. We went out to dinner, we did karaoke. It was a blast. I had fun. But the downside of that was that I just saw how James at the time, he was not really doing his big one at all. Like, one thing at that point I was just like, I'm not playing about is my birthday. And I don't know, I think around that time I saw a quote, or I just saw something where people were talking about, like, people show you exactly how they feel about you when you have a big accomplishment, or when it's your birthday, or like some type of significant event. And I just kept that in the back of my mind. Y'all, he didn't pay for my hair. I don't think he paid for much of anything. He did pay for my hair, but that was only because I think I didn't have my card or something like that. I wasn't able to pay for it, so I'm like, you know, can you pay for it or whatever. That was the only reason. I think I bought all the rest of my own stuff for the most part. So that was just a big thing for me. After my birthday, or just during the process, I was like, you know what, he gotta go. He gotta go, because I don't even think I don't think he got me a gift. He quit his job maybe 2 weeks before my birthday, and that was the other thing, and that just made me feel like, you just trying to sabotage me. That's what it's giving. It's giving very much you trying to sabotage me, for real. So after my birthday passed, I think at the end of that month, I told him that he needed to leave and go back to his apartment, because at this point he has his apartment, I have mine. But when my friends came into town, we let them stay in that apartment. Y'all can stay there instead of having to pay for a hotel or something like that. So we did that. Cool, now it's time for you to go home. I get the opportunity to go babysit for my cousin, which, like, it's just a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So I'm over here doing this, he's over there, he trying to get it together, figure it out. He didn't have no money, so he laid on rent. It was just a bit much. It was way too much. He was just starting to drown because he was not being responsible, and he was just folding, for real. He literally was just folding. And of course that is affecting me, because my name is on this lease as well. And I'm like, bro, if I could make sure I'm doing what I gotta do to make sure I pay my bills, and my rent I think was a little bit higher than his. At that point my rent might have been, including the utilities that they charge him, $1,800, bro. $1,800, almost close to $900 if I'm not mistaken. And his rent I think was 17 something. So I'm like, bro, I'm paying $200 more than you are. Literally, I'm paying more, and he was still coming by me sometimes, things like that. So it was just stuff like that. I'm just like, I can't do this no more. You got too much going on. And the more that I pulled away, the more that he tried to attach himself to me and stay on me. So now we had a little situation, I think, where he tried to take my phone, and I called the security guard that was around there. They called the police and all of that good stuff, and I was low-key so embarrassed, because I wasn't trying to escalate the situation, but he just took my phone and crossed my boundaries just because he had suspicions. I called the police. He wasn't able to come over there no more. He leaves, he goes back home to New Orleans. I'm still in Atlanta, and that left me to, like, deal with all of those feelings and all of the traumatic experiences I had by myself. And now it's daylight savings time as well, so it's getting darker earlier. I'm not getting as much sunlight. I quit my job that I was working at, and I was working with the lady, but she was underpaying me, and it wasn't enough. I was going to work, coming home, taking care of her child, making sure he ate, cleaning up, cooking food, going grocery shopping. It was just way too much, and I was sleeping at her house and not sleeping at my own house. So I'm like, this is just too much. She's supposed to pay me on Fridays. Friday come, okay, cool, you know, I'm not gonna say nothing about it. She didn't say nothing. So okay, Friday evening, I'm like, you know, hey, when are you gonna send my money or whatever, because I got stuff to do too. Like, all the money I'm making from work is literally just paying my rent at a place that I'm not even at. Like, I'm not even here. Oh, she gonna send him blah blah blah, whatever. Saturday comes, I asked her again. You know, I try to give her a good bit of the day. I asked her again, when are you gonna send my coins? And she's only sending me like $250. And for the amount of stuff that I was doing, I had to bring him home from school, I had to pick him up from school. You're not giving me gas money. I think she left like a card that might have had a couple $100s on there, like a credit card for us to use or whatever. But I think I was like getting food, but I wasn't getting too much, and I mainly was getting stuff for him. I think we went to the movies, and I did pay for my movie ticket with her thing, because yeah, that should be included. Like, hello. So little stuff like that. But like I said, I'm trying to save my money, get myself out of debt, do all these different things, and I need you to have my coins. And way more than $250 for a whole week of being an in-house nanny, that just doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. So long story short, after like 2 weeks of her taking forever to pay me, and one time she like snapped at me and she's like, oh, I'm gonna send you your money, like, I don't like when people be asking me, like, she said some stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, oh, please have several seats, because I'm helping you more than you're helping me. I have a job to go to. I'm doing this more so to help you and to just be able to get away from James, of course. So I broke things off for her too. I said, you gotta come get your child, because it's just a no. He over here stabbing people iPad at school, and that was really the only bad thing that he did. Like, he was a real cool child, real calm, real collective. He was so sweet. It was just too much. I didn't sign up to do this for this long. I just did it, and it wasn't doing it for me. So I left that. That was the whole month of October. So in November, I'm back home at my place. Now I'm trying to get acclimated. I was home almost that whole month by myself, and I just started to feel so sad and just alone. I was scared, because I'm like, what if James tries to come through my balcony or something and tries to like come in here? It was just a lot going on, right? My dad, dad number 2, he comes out here, and I start to feel better again. It's like maybe a couple of days before Thanksgiving. My mom them coming to town. My stepdad, who my mom was married to, he got out of jail, and he's coming out here to Atlanta. So things started to feel a little bit more up for me, because now I'm back around familiar people who love me, and so I'm starting to feel a little better. So then I think sometime in December, maybe the beginning of December, James came back out there. We started talking again. I think I contacted him first. And let me stop right now. Do not be the one to spin the block. I will never do that again. I don't care how prideful it is. I will never speak to you again. Because the one thing I can absolutely say I did do too much of, I was too much of the one to come back and initiate conversation again. I did it the entire time. Because once I got him, like, once I, you know, initiated or whatever, he gonna come in and do all the rest of the work. Like, I wasn't, you know, calling him all the time. But if we weren't talking, especially with that situation, like something big like that, I would initiate the contact first, right? So don't do that. Don't do that. Leave him where he at. If he can't be the one to contact you, like, it's a little better at least if he don't want to contact you first. But no, man. So we start talking again. Not too much. Like, you know, of course I'm giving him the cold shoulder a little bit, like, you know, because I'm like, oh man, like, it was just so much going on at that moment. And I think for me, I just was feeling really, was it lonely? I don't know if it was necessarily just like loneliness that I was feeling. I think maybe that's what it was. For lack of better words, we're just gonna go with that. I was feeling lonely, and I was just by myself, because I'm in a new city. I hadn't made any friends. All of the people that I knew at my previous job, I'm not really talking to them, because, you know, we only talked at work for real. And now I had this new job. I quit that job. Sorry, I'm getting a little cold, but I quit that job because I think I was making, like, it might have been neck and neck. The amount of money that I was making at the new job, it wasn't. Okay, my camera overheated, but I waited too late to start advertising for Black Friday, and it didn't work out for me. I didn't build enough trust with my people. I didn't build enough anticipation, all of those things. So now my mom's out here with my sister. You know, we have Thanksgiving, all of those different things. Things are cool. I decorated my home for Christmas, and that made me feel so much better, because my house was just so dark. Like, I didn't have a Christmas tree out, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna decorate my Christmas tree, put me on some movies, bake some cookies, and just chill out and create a good vibe for myself. Like, I can't just sit around here and just be sad. Like, y'all, it was so bad. I was scared to go take a shower at night because I was afraid something was gonna come out. Like, I used to be scared of the dark. It was just that bad. So anyways, James comes back. He don't have no money, didn't have no job, and so I'm like, why did you come back out here with nothing? Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So he's staying over there. It's cold. I think at that point the lights had went off at the place, so my mom's like, you know, where he's at or whatever. I'm like, well, he's back out here, but he's staying over there. So she's starting to feel bad, motherly instincts, whatever. And she's like, oh, well, you can let him come back over here and me and your sister will just sleep in the living room. I'm like, I'm feeling a little apprehensive, but of course, because it was uncomfortable me being by myself and stuff, it felt more comfortable and a lot easier to just say, okay, I'm gonna let him come back in. But like I said, of course, like, I'm not just about to welcome him with open arms and just be all la 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 ready to get back in a relationship or just get back serious or anything. So he comes back over. I told him he had to sleep on the floor. You can't sleep in the bed with me, you gotta sleep on the floor, and he did. And my mom and him stayed for literally the entire month. She stayed from like December 2nd to January 2nd or something like that, right after New Year's. I started working a new job, and so did he. Like, he started working maybe a week after he came back or whatever, because baby, you gotta eat. I can't take care of you. I can't, not doing it no more, you know. So fast forward, January comes, I get sick, so sick that I could not work. But I didn't get sick in January. I started feeling sick like right after Valentine's Day, and the rest of the month of February to like maybe a week or two in March, I just was not working. I couldn't even move. I couldn't get out the bed. I was just feeling so sick. So now it's really just on him to take care of everything. And I think for the month of March, I wasn't able to pay my rent because I wasn't working, so I couldn't pay my rent. I don't think he paid his rent. We ended up getting a whole eviction because of the lack of us being able to pay for everything and him not paying the rent since like October. So that was a whole thing. And then March, we ended up having to move back home. Basically, we had to move back home because I'm about to get evicted at this point. He's evicted already, so now he's staying back with me because, you know, we can't be at the place. We ended up moving everything out of the Airbnb or out of his home into mine before my mom left because we had to have our stuff out of there or whatever. So everything's by me. So now dad number 2 comes back out here, and I tell him, you know, we have to come back. We can't, like, we just can't. And I think at those times I was just so sad. Everything was just happening so freaking fast that I couldn't even process. Like, I just was freezing. I was just freezing. Like, I couldn't do anything. I tell him that we have to, not that we had to come back, but it's like, what else are we gonna do? Where else are we gonna go? Especially with him. Like, I have family that I could have went by when I was in Atlanta. I really did. So it's like, if I was fully just by myself, I would have been able to say, you know, I can go by my aunt, I can go by my uncle's house and stay over there for a month or however long I need to be able to get myself together. But I ended up just being like, I just have to go home. He need to go home, go back to his family. Let me return you where I brought you from, even though I feel like I didn't bring, well, technically he rode in the car with me, but you get what I'm saying. Like, he's his own person. And my siblings, actually both of my siblings, started to have seizures. They both were premature. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just go home. And I also want to say too that in that moment, all I could hear to myself in that moment is, the foundation that you built was horrible. It was crumbly. So at this point, you have to wipe it clean. You have to let it all fall apart, start fresh and start new. And that's exactly what I had to do when I went back home. So I come back home and I finally start to feel better. I start to feel better after probably like mid-April, right after Easter. I started feeling better after that, and it's just time for me to start getting acclimated, getting adjusted. I had to move back with my mom abruptly, and she was not happy about that at all. More so just because it's like she didn't really have time to prepare. So I get it to a certain extent or whatever, but that put more attention on our relationship. I started to like separate myself a little bit more from James. Like, you know, we're still talking, things are still cool, but I just separate myself from him. I think we talked from like, well, we stayed together until maybe about, I think after my 23rd birthday. I stopped talking to him, but I stopped talking to him probably around like December, maybe November of this year, which is 2023 now. And I didn't talk to him for a little while. So from like the end of that year up until May of 2024, I gave in. I told him happy birthday, and then from there we ended up rekindling and starting to hang out more. But this time around, I did do better with me not being the one to be paying for everything. I'm like, you know, if you want to hang out with me, you want to do something, I'm not coming to pick you up. You gotta Uber, you gotta figure it out, do whatever you gotta do. I don't care, ride a bike, take the bus, whatever you have to do, that's your responsibility, it's not mine. And if you want us to like hang out or just do whatever the case may be, you have to pay for the food, you got to get the hotel room. So that's what he was doing. It was cool up until a point to where it was like he was just not being responsible financially. And I'm starting to think about, oh, well, if he only have $100, like, I'm trying to be mindful of that. And that was just not my responsibility, because if you cannot afford to court me, then you don't need to be dating me or anybody, period. You need to stay to yourself. So he wasn't doing that, right? So fast forward, a hurricane comes in 2024, we leave, go back to Atlanta, because of course, like, we're trauma bonding in that sense, and we want to, you know, go back home, because this is not home for us. Like, it was just such an adjustment being back home. Like, I was just so sad. Truly, I literally cried as we were leaving Atlanta. Like, I cried. So of course, the first chance we get, we spent pretty much like the last little bit of our money going to Atlanta, and we stayed out there maybe for like 2 days or something like that. But that was all we could afford. We didn't have any, well, I think we did have a little bit more money, but it's like if we would have stayed one more day, that would have been our money to get back home. So we ended up having to come back home, but of course we felt inspired and motivated or driven to go back. And then after we come back, why my home flooded. So now I'm back to not having anywhere else to stay. At this point, and like during the time that me and him split up, I did move out of my mom's house because it was just too much for me. And it just reminded me of like why I moved out of her home in the first place back in 2019. So I'm like, I gotta go somewhere else. So I started staying with dad number 2. He had an extra room space. So I kind of had like my own apartment situation, but it wasn't like fully an apartment. So that place flooded, and now I'm like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? So I'm starting to get super stressed. And like it was to the point where my car had messed up again. I sold my old car that I had like while me and him was split up, and dad number 2 gave me another car, but it turns out something was wrong with the transmission or something like that, the starter, whatever the parts are. He said it didn't make sense to spend $800 to fix that issue when I can just get you a whole better car, which was fine with me because I didn't like that car anyways. I don't know if I necessarily realized it at the time, but I don't think I did. But now I realize that every time I brought him back into my life, so many bad things started to happen. I'm having car troubles, all these different issues, like every time. Before him, I rarely had car troubles, and if I did have any issue with my car, I had the money to go say, okay, whatever it costs, I could just go get it fixed. It was no issue. So just keep that in mind. Notice that when you're dating somebody or when anybody comes into your life, if shit starts to go bad all the time, they're the problem. They're the corporate. They're bringing that bad energy into you. It was so bad, y'all, that I was literally riding a bike just to get out the house. Like, we literally rode the bike. I rode the bus for the first time in my life, I think. I don't think I've ever ridden the bus. I think maybe one time with my grandma. I don't know, but I never had to ride the bus, and that one time I rode the bus. It wasn't bad, like it was cool, but to have to do that all the time, no ma'am, no him. I salute everybody who does that and has to go through it. I'm not shaming anybody or whatever, because you got to do what you got to do to get where you got to go. But just the way that my mom raised me, she just never wanted us to have to experience anything like that. And when you're being hard-headed and you're not listening and you're not treating yourself right and loving yourself through your actions, like not just telling yourself you love yourself, but loving myself enough to make those hard, uncomfortable decisions to say, this is not it for me. I can't keep doing this. I wasn't doing that all the way at the time, as much as I thought I was at that moment. But when life came back and handed me that test, bring him back around, see if your boundaries are stronger. And it was strong in some areas, but of course, as we got more comfortable with each other, those boundaries kind of softened in some ways. Like, I still didn't stop expecting him, like, financially to do what he needed to do in certain boundaries, but as far as like just giving him too much access into my life, that is something that, you know, I was getting a little too comfortable with. Ooh, child. Okay, so this all happened between October, a day or two after we rode the bikes to the park or whatever. Like, I genuinely was just so stressed, and my mind was just in such a bad place that I think I physically made myself sick. Because maybe, I don't know how long it was after that day, but I started having crazy stomach pains, and it just didn't make no sense. And I'm like, oh my god, I hope I'm not pregnant again. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry so hard, like I just might walk into traffic. I'm not kidding, because I can't do this again. So I'm crying, and I tell my mom, I'm literally crying because I'm like, my stomach hurts and I don't know why it's hurting. Like, I just don't know why and what's going on. So she drops me off at this urgent care place or whatever, and she left me. And that really hurt my feelings, because I'm like, I understand you're upset about certain things or whatever, but her like just being so absent during that time, it just had me feeling even worse, for sure. Because I'm like, this is part of what pushed me to be with somebody who is like this, because of the way that my parents were at times. Because just being the eldest daughter is, oh well, she got it, she's strong, she can do it, and that's just not fair. It's just not right. But that's another topic for a whole nother day. So the doctor, they're like, you know, you're not pregnant, it's not nothing like that, we don't know what's wrong with you or whatever, of course. And they sent me on my way. Well, they gave me some medicine and was like, okay, take this medicine, and if you start having these issues again, just go to the emergency room, because they can only do so much testing at this place or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. So I think later on I go to the emergency room, I find out I had cysts on my ovaries and stuff, and that is what was causing the issues. The hospital treated me horrendously. They were like, oh, you have a nasty infection. We're just gonna give you 5 days of antibiotics and send you on your way. If you have any problems, call back, come back. But baby, who the fuck wants to come back and have to go through the whole process of getting admitted to the emergency room again? Why would I want to do that? Why? Don't make me mad, please. Please don't piss me off. And I just felt so unseen, so uncared for. That's when I had my own experience of like being a black woman in the healthcare system. It's actually very tragic, and it really pisses me off. You don't understand, because I can only imagine how many other women have died in the hands of these doctors and these people who just mistreat you and miscare for you and treat your symptoms as if it's nothing. Like, you should not have to advocate so hard for yourself. I shouldn't have to ask you to do extra testing and all this other stuff. You should care just because I'm a patient. It don't even fucking matter. So yes, anyways, it's not the story for today, but that really makes me so mad. I'm just so passionate about that, but another day. So after I find out I have these cysts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, bro, I really gotta continue to get into my health bag. So I started working with my grandma. James gets a job working somewhere, so right now we only have his income. My dad, number 2, he's like, oh, he has another space that I could stay in. But there's a place where it was like a place where a lot of men would hang around, especially at night, and I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable staying there by myself. I really don't. So he's like, all right, well, let James stay with you. Y'all can stay there together, or he can just come with you there at nighttime. You know, you can stay there during the day, he could come in the evening. At first I'm like, bro, like, I just worked so hard to get myself away from him. So to come back and have to, or not have to, but end up staying with him again, I'm like, I'm feeling reluctant, but I'm also just like, okay, at least I'm gonna have my own space. I could breathe, I could think. I don't have to worry about feeling like a burden on anybody. I don't gotta stay by my mom, all these things. So I go to this new place, we set it up, you know, we make it our own, but he's the only one working like a real job. I'm working with my grandma because she had a haul as well, so I'm putting together different like pieces of artwork for her and stuff like that. And you know, it was helpful. I was having a little money come in. So this is around November, right? So then I work a job with my other grandmother, and I found that there was a position available with the lady that she was working with to be like the kitchen operational coordinator. And I'm like, I could do that. I can do that. What I gotta do? What I gotta do? So I started working with her towards the end of November. This is when I actually became self-employed. So as of November 2024, I started to like my journey of just being self-employed. So I'm working with her. It's cool because I'm a Virgo, and I know people, you know, say like, oh, whatever, but that's just what it is. I'm very organized. I pay attention to detail. I can be very analytical, very technical at times. So this was a really great role for me. I'm an unbiased person. Like, I'm not gonna show favoritism to you just because I like you. Like, the same rule that applies to this person, it applies to you too. So I feel like I was perfect to manage this place, and it was a commissary kitchen. I'm making not the most money that I ever made, but it was up there. I'm finally making some real money, for real, like money that I was making when I was in Atlanta. I'm like, all right, cool, I could get with it. I could get with it. I'm finally able to just take care of myself. Once I realized that the healthcare system was failing me, just as it was failing so many other black women, I said, I'm taking matters into my own hand. I'm not doing this with y'all. So I'm starting doing research on cysts, PCOS, fibroids, all those different things. And I'm like, I'm about to do this shit myself, because as these months were going on as well, like, I would have little moments where I'd go in and out of having the symptoms that I was having, and I started to have like a heaviness under my eyes. It was so bad. My stomach was hurting. I wasn't eating as much. I think those were the main 2 things. Like, I would have pain in my pelvic area, like I guess where the cysts were. I think sometimes the cysts were erupting, whatever. And like I said, I was just having such a heaviness under my eyes. It was horrible. Like, one of the worst feelings I've had, just to have like on a daily basis. It was bad. So as I'm starting to do different things, like I'm starting to take oil of oregano, I'm taking my magnesium, I started taking more iron, because I know that because I don't eat meat, I might be deficient in certain vitamins because I'm not eating that stuff, and I wasn't eating as much vegetables. So now I'm starting to drink smoothies, and that's when I started going to Healthier Nola, which is this like smoothie truck. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know. So I started going there, and now it's around like January around this time, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I'm still losing so much weight because I'm not eating as much. And because I was working so much, like I started working during the busiest season for this commissary kitchen. We have Mardi Gras, Valentine's Day, festival seasons is about to begin and stuff like that. So I'm like working. I worked, I think, like, was it 80 hours in 1 week, or maybe 60 hours? I don't know. I just know I was working a whole lot, to where by the time I get home and I haven't cooked anything, I just don't have anything to eat. Only thing that I can't eat is french fries, because fast food places don't sell fish. They don't sell shrimp. Well, Popeyes do, but I don't like Popeyes like that. Like, that's like a every once in a while type of vibe. and it's just really unhealthy. So a lot of times I just wouldn't eat anything, and I was just losing so much weight. I think I lost 30 pounds or maybe 40 pounds in the span of a month or 2 months. That's how bad it was. So that happens. Now we're moving on to a little bit later. Now it's March. We've been home for about a year now. Oh no, we've been home actually 2 years now, because now it's 2025, and I'm just like feeling numb at this point. I'm smoking because for one, it was helping with my symptoms, and for two, it's like, well, I'm working, you know, I'm saving my money, putting it to the side. Like, what the fuck else can I do? So I wasn't posting on YouTube during this whole time or anything like that. I'm trying to find my spark again in myself, especially because like I was just going through so much physically with being sick and everything. It was just hard. But back to January real quick. I started working with this guy. What could we call him? Charles worked. So I started working with this guy, Charles. And I think the first day that we started working together, he asked me, do I have a boyfriend? And at this point as well, like, I'm starting to get tired of James. I told him that like I didn't want to be in a relationship with anymore. I'm like, we can still stay together, but I just don't really want to be in a relationship with you. Like, I just need to be by myself. I just want to get myself together. And he wasn't really liking that. He wasn't feeling it. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do anymore. So mentally, even though like together we still was like physically like living together and how we'd come off to family and stuff as if we were in a relationship, but mentally I was like leaving. I was gone. Because I think for Christmas it was just the same stuff. Like, I just realized he was just the same as what he was before, not being considerate and making sure he got me gifts for Christmas to open on Christmas. I think I bought him like a back massager, or I bought him a Lego set or something like that for Christmas, and I don't think he had anything for me, but he's like, you know, I'm gonna just let you order whatever you want off of Amazon. But that's not the same. Like, where's the intention? Where's the thought? It just wasn't there. And I'm like, you know what, I had enough of this shit. I done seen this story before. You don't gotta keep showing me. I don't need to keep seeing it. My camera is about to die and I lost my other battery. So if the quality changes, it'll be because I'm recording on my phone. And he asked, you know, if I have a boyfriend. I'm like, yes, I do have a boyfriend. And I forgot what he said, but he was just like, I don't know. I don't even want to try to put words in the man's mouth. So anyways, during that time, you know, he's like, okay, cool, I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna respect that you're in a relationship. Okay, cool. I'm like, all right, cool beans, cool beans. So as we're working together, like the first week of January something, we started working together, and throughout this month we're working together a lot because he was like another manager coming to be, or maybe like the chef up in there or whatever. So as we're working together, he's just doing little things that were just very thoughtful, very considerate. He'd open all the doors, every single door, doesn't matter what door, every door he's opening the door for me. And I remember one time I was getting ready to open the door myself, because you know, usually it's just me and the other lady that I'm working with, and like sometimes James I would have to remind him to open the door. Like, I would have to just stand there, and sometimes he wouldn't even come around and open the door. He would get in the car and open the door for me that way, and I just didn't like that. So I just want y'all to keep this in mind. So he comes and I'm like about to grab the door, and he plucked my hand, and I was like, did you just pluck my hand? He's like, don't touch another door, I will pluck it again. And I was like, oh wow. Oh wow. Also a disclaimer too, like, he wasn't really doing, he didn't do anything to be disrespectful to the relationship. Like, he wasn't still trying to flirt with me or nothing or anything like that, but I think that he was just raised to be a gentleman. He had like a old school mom, so he was just raised to be respectful to women and to cater to women, from what I'm seeing. So he did that, and I will never forget that. And every time we had stuff to do, if there was a heavy box or just anything, he was just being a gentleman. And it wasn't only to me, but it's to the rest of the women. Like, he'd offer, do you need help with that? You want me to get that for you? Whatever the case may be, he's doing those things. So, you know, it's cool working with him or whatever. And it's good to have a man around, because now we don't gotta lift no heavy boxes and we won't have to do all that. Because we're in the food hospitality industry, it's a lot of boxes coming, it's a lot of decor coming for like different plating and events we had. Like, we did so many different galas. We had the NOTCF gala, the Super Bowl was down here during that time, so we had the Super Bowl parade, Super Bowl luncheon, all of these different things that we were doing. So it was a lot of like boxes coming in and all of that. So it was nice to have him there. And I remember another time when I first came in, of course, because he likes me, he's still treating me a little bit better than he's treating everybody else in there. And of course they picked up on it too. I feel like low-key a little bit of them, they low-key was like feeling a little salty about it, but like, you know, what am I supposed to do? I feel like they definitely were feeling a little salty about it and kind of being a little bit salty towards me, just a little bit. So I remember another key thing that he did, I was washing my hands, and literally as I'm washing my hands, I literally just finished, y'all, he handed me paper towels. And so of course being in the relationship that I was in at the time and just seeing the difference in how I was being treated by this guy who don't even know me. He don't know my situation. He doesn't know me as a person. I didn't do anything with him. And to see that he just treated me with so much respect and so much care just after like a month of us just like, you know, working together and stuff, it was just so eye-opening to me. There was of course a couple of other things he did as well, and like it was just real consistent. When I come in, he'd ask me how, you know, how did I sleep, how are things, like, you know, just little questions like that. Did I eat anything? I think one time he bought me some food. Like, he just treated me to a new experience. I don't think I ever had Jamaican food at that time, and he bought me some Jamaican food. And don't get me wrong, I definitely think that some of the stuff he was doing, he was trying his best to like subtly get on my good side or get like, you know, in good with me, especially because he saw a little bit of how James was towards me and stuff. But I think more so that he was just brought into my life to show me, for one, how good it could get. Like, definitely that wasn't the best of the best, but just to show me the contrast of what I was allowing myself to experience versus what I could really experience. Like, it was just such a shock to me. I genuinely, I don't know if I cried, but I wanted to cry because I'm like, wow, what I have been allowing myself to receive from this one guy, even the other guy I dated, that is just like, that the bar was in hell. It was in hell. It was just so low and so bad that I'm like, wow, this is just, it's truly insane. It's mind-boggling for me to see the difference of how I'm being treated by one guy versus what I have been used to this whole time. Like, it was just crazy. And at first during that time I felt like, dang, like, do I need to leave James for, you know, for Charles? And I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. Just because this man is being nice to you and he's showing you the not the epitome, but just a base level of what you deserve, that doesn't mean you need to be with this man. You don't know this man, you don't know his past, all that other stuff. That don't mean that. But looking back at it now, of course, I really see that it was just like, not a symbol, but an example, a nice experience to show myself like you can receive so much better if you allow yourself to. If you choose differently, if you do what's uncomfortable, you can receive so much better. Because what I experienced with him, that wasn't much, you know, that was just a sprinkle of the love and the care and the intention and the compassion, the considerateness. That is what it was. It was the way that he considered me. He really brought me paper towels after I washed my hands. It's little things like that that truly makes you feel so seen and cared for and deserved. And so just experiencing that guy, y'all, a butterfly just passed by my window. Ah, that's confirmation. But just to have experienced that, you guys, it was extremely eye-opening for me, and it felt like such a confirmation of what I have been feeling. You know, it's like I felt like I deserved better. I knew I wanted more for myself and everything like that. It just felt very scary, or more so like, but how am I gonna do it? How am I gonna do this? I think what happened next was March. I went to Dallas, Texas. I went on this Texas tour. That video is on my channel as well if you guys want to see more of that. And you can see how small I was even then. Like, I couldn't even fit my clothes for real. It was just, it was like kind of sad. I feel bad for myself, like, looking back, but I'm also very proud of myself for still standing strong, for advocating for myself, even if I didn't do it like by telling these people, but I advocated for myself by being the change that I felt like I knew I needed to see. And that is why I'm so health conscious now, just seeing how like people do not care for you. These big corporations, these hospitals who swear up and down, oh my gosh, we're here for you and we want you to have the best experience. It's a lie. It's absolutely a lie. But I'm just proud for how I advocated for myself and how now I'm in a much healthier state. I take my vitamins, y'all, just like being more healthy, all of those different things. And so at that point, I think May of that year, I stopped smoking because I was like, you know what, I have to stop. I have to get myself together. I can't keep on numbing how I feel. And y'all, it was a little rough. For the first 2 weeks it was rough because I don't think at that point I was taking magnesium and iron. I was taking like this stuff called Balance Back. I forgot the brand, but it was really good. It helped so much with my symptoms and stuff. And then I started taking oil of oregano. I started drinking more smoothies, and that was really it. Like, I was just not eating chocolate. I wasn't eating none of that type of stuff. So that's what really also aided me in losing all of that weight. But it was too much weight, you know, it was way too much. And I decided to stop smoking because I had like a crazy, I don't know if it was an anxiety attack but like my mind, it was just too much. Like all of my anxieties and my fears and stuff were just being amplified, and I was like, you know what, I can't do this no more. I was like, you know what, we need to give it at least 3 months of stopping smoking, and I just need to focus on getting my stuff together, getting back into creating content, what I'm so passionate about and everything. And that's what I did. And I was like, you know what, we're gonna leave this man. I don't know how, but we're gonna do it. So first I started by making sure I get myself together, I get me a new car, and establishing my credit, or just doing whatever I need to do, put my savings to the side. And that's pretty much what I did. So May, I didn't tell him anything. I just continued to act like things were cool, things were normal. So for the rest of May and June, I talked to my parents. You know, I'm like, okay, I am just ready to get out of this. I don't want to live with him anymore. And I decided I was going to come and move with my grandmother, and I did that. And we moved, I think, June 30th. And by the end of July, I blocked him. I stopped talking to him. And that is where the Boss's Diaries was born. I realized that I have to choose better for myself. And I cannot keep on allowing these excuses, these different reasons, and to stop me from doing what I needed to do. And to take care of myself. If I'm seeing that I can have so much better than what I'm allowing myself to experience, I gotta make those hard choices. And it was not easy at first. I was sad partially because I'm like, man, you know, I miss him. And it wasn't even that I missed him. I missed the familiarity that I had associated with him. I missed having somebody else who understood the experience of Atlanta and everything that we saw. The difference between what we wanted from ourselves and what our parents had experienced. It was a lot of change, but I knew that I had myself, and I felt like that's all that mattered. I learned to have my own back. I learned to start trusting myself, and there's so many different things that I learned, which I talked to you guys about in the Boss's Blueprint as well. So all of the gems and stuff, like I tried to do my best to bring you guys along the journey and let y'all see what it's like for me to build my dream life from scratch. That's what the Boss's Diaries was all about and is all about. And speaking of which, season 2 is gonna be coming so soon. It'll be premiering for you guys this summer, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and stay tuned and turn your post notifications on so that you can see that. Go look back at the last season, see how much I've grown, see how much I've allowed my creativity to flow, and how I've navigated those hardships and everything that I was experiencing trying to get myself together. The first episode, I believe, I still was with him, and just despite everything that I was feeling, despite all the things that he'd done to me, I still dealt with trauma from him. Just being the same person he was when we was in Atlanta, I still was dealing with sexual assault. I still was dealing with the manipulation, the gaslighting. Okay, you guys, so this is where my camera battery died, and I'm beginning to tell you guys the story of the cherry on top that really made me decide I needed to leave and get myself out of this situation. You guys, so I'm on my phone now. My camera battery died, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't have time for it to sit and charge. I'm almost done my little champagne, so excuse the difference. Anyways, I forgot exactly what I was saying, but of course when I started working with Charles, I told James about it, because y'all remember, I don't know if I told you guys already, but I know the first job I started working at, y'all know we had the issues with Kevin, right? So then the second job, I started working at a new place, and I told y'all about that, but I didn't tell you guys there was another guy there who, I don't really know if he had an interest in me. I feel like he probably did. I wouldn't be surprised, but he never tried to cross the line. I don't even think he ever asked me out or anything like that. He saw that I had a boyfriend because, of course, as soon as I started working in this new area, James came back and started working in this new area too. He didn't have to, but he did. So he saw this guy, or I think we were on the phone at work again, because my job, it was slow at times. So whenever it was slow, I would work on a video, I'd watch YouTube or whatever, or I would periodically talk with James. So I think one time I was talking with James, he was on the phone, and the guy that I was working with, he brought me my breakfast because the people that I worked with, everybody else was upstairs. So for the first half of my shift, I was downstairs in one space, and then for the second half, I go upstairs with everybody else. So when they made breakfast, this one guy, I think he was one of the only people that could come and move around. Everybody else had to be in their position or whatever. So he would come down and bring my breakfast and bring whatever tarts and pastries and stuff that I needed to sell. So he brought it down to me, and he's like, here's your breakfast. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much or whatever. And of course, James comes, hears it, and he's all in his feelings, blah, 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 all this other stuff. So now when we come back to this third job of mine, and there's another guy, let me just tell him ahead of time, because I'm not trying to deal with all that. I don't really like this guy like that or anything. And I'm a loyal person. If I have a boyfriend, I'm not gonna be doing all that. I just don't like stuff like that. I'm not gonna do that. So why was I saying that? Oh, so basically that there was a situation where Charles that I was working with, he needed a ride. Well, he didn't need a ride home. I don't know what happened, but I'm like, oh, I'm going towards that way. I could just bring you home or whatever. Cool. So we were packing up because I think I had the order that we catering job that we had to do, it ran over some stuff like that, and we were there a little late. I think it was around 6-7 o'clock, and of course I'm working with Charles, so James, I guess, I don't know, his intrusive thoughts, why he called an Uber all the way to my job. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you wasted that money catching an Uber to my job just so you can see what I'm doing and try to pop up on me again. So at that point, I didn't get to tell him that I was gonna give this guy a ride. I didn't say anything just yet. I'm trying to hurry up and get this stuff done so we could go home. But I was gonna call him and tell him, but before I was able to do so, he was already pulling up at my job. But let me be honest, because we were already getting in the car, of course I told y'all, Charles not letting me touch any doors. So he opened the door for me and I'm about to get in the car or whatever, and that's when James pulled up, and I said nothing was going on at all. And he just saw that, and so of course it looked bad. I completely understand how that could look, especially when you already have those wounds. Seeing anything like that could just set you off. So I completely understood that, and I was just doing my best to reassure him once again, you just don't have any trust in me, and if you don't trust me that much, you just need to break up with me. But it's like, honestly, if I think about it, if it was the other way around, I don't know. I just feel like I don't really know what I could really say if I put myself in his shoes, because I just don't feel like I would react the same. I can absolutely be accountable and say that I should have contacted him first before just giving him a ride home, or before even about to be giving him a ride home. I definitely should have did that, and that's my fault. I think also I was feeling a little not considerate of his feelings just because of everything I was already telling you. Because for one, I already told you I didn't want to be in a relationship with you. That's for one. For two, he was not really being considerate, like I told y'all, just the way that I was being treated. So I wasn't really being considerate or caring about how he felt about things. But I also knew that I did not really like Charles. So I know confidently, I know that I'm not doing anything, but just based on how things look, I can see why James was feeling and looking how he was. So I'm saying all that to say that a little while after that, we were getting into an argument. All I know is that he choked me. He just grabbed me like this really hard to where I literally had a little bruise on my neck. It's gone now, but it stayed on my neck for a couple months. I think he choked me, might have been in January, and I did not stop feeling the pain till May, maybe even a little bit after that. It just hurt so bad. So that is when it really clicked for me. I'm like, you know what, this is only going to continue to get worse if I keep allowing it. If I keep on being in a space and closing a space by myself with him, if he is not learning to contain his anger and everything, it's only going to get worse. And I just don't deserve that. I don't deserve that at all. And I have to stop allowing myself to experience it, and I have to also be accountable for my role that I played in that as well, because I was not perfect at all. I was not perfect, and I think a lot of the times when he would do stuff to me and I knew that I could get to him mentally, I would just not say certain things or do certain things or say certain things that would upset him. When he would just ignore a boundary of mine, I would talk with Charles a little bit more or something like that. Not nothing flirty, but I would just entertain him a little bit more. I feel like if you really think about it, I could call it a little bit more of emotional cheating. If I'm really keeping 100 with you guys, it was just more emotional. I didn't really tell him a whole lot of what was going on, but I leaned more into the way that he was caring for me and things like that. But it really never went nowhere. I remember one time Charles was trying to get me to go over here after we finished the job, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I like my job, I respect my job, and regardless of what my relationship looks like, I have respect for myself and I have some sense of respect for him. I'm not about to do that. So that was one time that it was weird to me, because I'm like, why are you trying to go over here? Why are you trying to do all that? That's weird. No. And I already told you what was tea. And that was just one of the other things that really pushed me to say this is enough, because I don't want to end up like nobody else. I don't want to end up around here with a black eye because I'm just in this abusive relationship. I don't want my family to distance themselves away from me anymore just because I'm allowing somebody else to drain me, and I want a better life for myself. So instead of me just wanting it, I realized I had to actually act as if I wanted it. I had to show up as if I wanted it, and like I said, that's just how everything was born. So after I stopped talking to him, I just felt so much better, y'all. I haven't listened to the amount of times that I've had car issues where the car broke down, the battery died. I have not had one issue since then. I think one time, I think my car overheated or something like that, but I've never been stranded anywhere. I never had to sit somewhere. I haven't locked the doors to my car. None of those issues. I have not had those issues since. It's crazy, and it just goes to show you how when you have bad company, God is not going to give you the things that he wants to give you, or they want to give you. That's really it, and that is just the gist of my story. But it's been a wild ride, a wild journey. I'm just really proud of myself. I successfully did my 3 months of not smoking. I don't know if I drank during that time, but I didn't smoke, and I just worked on myself. I learned how to do my hair myself. Y'all, I did these braids myself. I don't know if I told y'all that already. Well, I didn't tell it in this video, but in my vlog from this season 2 of the Boss Says Diaries. Y'all gonna see when I talk about how I did my own hair, but I learned how to do that. I got back into doing short form. I stopped being so concerned about what other people thought of me. I learned so much about myself, good things and bad things that I needed to work on. I just learned so much, and I'm just truly just so proud of myself, and I think the younger version of me will be very proud of me too. I think the hardest part about me telling this story is realizing how many times I went back and fell back into the trap, even though I knew I deserved better and I wanted more for myself. And saying these things out loud, y'all, it's a little not humbling, but I don't know what word, I know what word I'm looking for, but it's just not on my tongue. But it's a little like, oh, you know, like, oh shit, like I'm just exposing myself so much. But I no longer feel embarrassed. I feel like at first I was feeling embarrassed, but I don't feel embarrassed because like this is my story and this is what it took for me to become who I am, and I'm not gonna feel bad about that at all. I don't. And if it helps anybody, that's really more important than feeling embarrassed or feeling sad or just whatever the case may be. And I also want to know too that me, like this bottle of champagne, I feel like it just symbolized how much I was holding on to this older version of myself, this old dream I had for my life and where I felt like I should have been in everything. So finally popping that and finally sharing my story, it just feels like me closing this chapter, stepping into this new season of my life that I have been curating and creating and building routines and systems for the last 6 months. Seriously, like, so I did want to answer a couple of questions that I felt like were very key to just this whole situation. And also, if you guys have any questions as well, make sure you comment them down below and let me know what y'all thoughts are. Keep it cute, keep it respectful, what y'all think, and if you guys have been in any situation that is similar to this, and if you have any advice, any tips. So the first question is, when did I realize the relationship was draining me instead of building me? So there were a couple of different points where I realized that. It was definitely the moment when we first got to Atlanta. I think around December when we first got out there, and I was telling him about how I felt like he didn't really be considerate or just say things like, you should take care of yourself, or did you go get your nails done, did you go get your toes done, or just do whatever like that. I literally hadn't done my hair in almost a month. And he didn't say anything. He said, well, babe, go get your hair done and go wash your hair. I'm gonna take care of this. I'll go grocery shopping. It was never that. And when I brought it to his attention, I said, I think he just said something that was just dismissive. And he was like, oh, well, you know what you gotta do. He said something like that. So that was one moment where I realized that. And then, of course, it was my birthday of that following year when I just saw that he just wasn't really being intentional. He didn't even make sure he got me a really nice gift. I think I paid for my cake. And then even when I had the whole pregnancy situation where I did not want to tell his mom, and I didn't really want to tell a lot of people. It wasn't nothing specific, well, besides her just not being able to hold water when it came to other people's business and her not really being respectful or anything like that. But if she was anybody else who had those same tendencies, I would have said the same thing. I don't want people to know. They don't need to know, especially if the baby's gone. There's no need to be telling people. So it was that, and how a lot of the times I felt like he was trying to misunderstand me more than he was trying to understand, and more so get to the solution to the problem. And I remember another time when I said I wanted to have a hot girl summer, and for me, I meant more of just going out, having fun, having new experiences, feeling confident in myself. It was all of those things. But I think for him, he thought of it more so, oh, I'm trying to go be hot, I'm trying to go be around other dudes and all this other stuff. And I think he called me like a follower, and I was like, why would you say that? So it was just little different things like that where his insecurity started to show. But that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, because I'm like, well, why would you say something like that just because I said I wanted to have a hot girl summer? And instead of you asking me what I meant by that, getting clarity before you just made assumptions, he just assumed. So it was that, and just also the other little different things that I was telling y'all about. All of those different things he done, not wanting to go do this by himself and wanting to have me here and there when it's time to go do this, that, and the third. Just all of those things. That is what made me realize it. But I didn't really fully come into the realization until when we were back home and when we were living together for that final time. I'm like, oh, you're draining me, because I wouldn't have gone through half of the issues that I went through if you were not here by my side. Because granted, and this is absolutely right, but nobody's really trying to help you out for real when you have a whole able-bodied significant other boyfriend right here who should be the leader and who should be trying to make the way for both of you guys. Nobody's gonna help you that much, and I feel like that's absolutely valid. So when I just realized that a lot of the times I was more so the one being positive and trying to find a way to make things better, it's just like, yeah, you're bringing me down. You're causing unnecessary conflict at my job multiple times, and it's just like, no, you're just not doing it for me. And honestly, every time I was able to be away from him for a little bit, I felt like I could breathe. I felt like I was able to just be myself and think for myself when we were away. So once I really started to realize that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's about that time. And the last question for now is, where am I at now? So now I'm currently rebuilding my life. I have built an amazing, gorgeous foundation for myself. I'm implementing new systems into my life. I have changed the way that I think about myself, the way I think about life. I have changed the way I think about relationships. My standards are so high now. We can only talk as I continue to put them to the test, but I'm allowing myself to just date people, just to date, not to just quickly get in a relationship, but just explore, allow myself to be free and experience new things without being tied down to specific people. So that has been really nice. That has been fun. I have been finding myself, figuring out what I like, what I don't like, what I want to do, what I don't want to do. That has been truly amazing as well. And I told you guys as well, Boss's Diary season 2 is coming out, so I'm really excited for that. And I also started a new business. It's called Made in China Customs, and it is a luxury party favor business. All of the things that I realized I was doing and creating for myself, you know what, I can make this for other people. And I'm so excited. I feel like it's perfect for me because I love to make stuff with my hands. I love to elevate things and make it just glamified and glamorous and extravagant. I love it. I love it so much. If you guys cannot see, so I felt like this was the perfect business for me. So if you are looking for any type of party favors, custom board games, custom champagne bottles or alcohol bottles, and what else do I have, a custom newspaper. If you aren't new here, but if you see in my last birthday videos, you saw I made my own newspaper for myself. I did my own photo shoot because I'm just no longer waiting for people to make my life and my experiences the best and doing what I want to do. That's just what I'm doing now, point blank period. Like, I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm going to execute my vision myself as much as I can. I'm learning to ask for help more. I'm learning that I deserve help. I deserve care. I'm allowed to make mistakes. So I'm just stepping into this new season, in this new chapter of my life, and I'm very proud of myself. I know I said that 50 times, but I really am. Like, I'm only telling you guys half of what I have experienced with this guy, and just still with family members, with life, with other jealous people, and all of those things. So I'm just proud of myself for still being soft and learning how to manage life where they want women to be hard so bad. I refuse to be hard. I refuse to not be in my feminine energy. I refuse to not love and be loved, because that is what I am. Okay, clock it, so don't play. So that's all this is. I have so many amazing things coming, and I feel like God is pouring it down on me for real, and y'all are about to see it. So I'm excited for you guys to be here along on this journey with me, and I'm happy to have y'all here. If y'all ever have any questions, any advice you need, or if you just need to talk to somebody, you can absolutely DM me on Instagram or leave your comment down here if you want to. I do want to start doing some advice type of videos, so we'll see. It's up to you guys to see what y'all comment down below and what advice y'all want and y'all need. And if y'all have any other video suggestions, anything you want to see from me, absolutely comment it down below. And of course, make sure you guys follow me on my social platforms. I have been so much more consistent, and I also drop really cool content there as well. And I'm just stepping into all my bags. I'm turning my life up 10 notches, and I'm just excited for y'all to see. I don't want to talk too much. I just want y'all to see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story time with me. I'm just thankful for the people who have watched them all and supported me this entire time. I'm so thankful. That's all I can say. And I'm not telling you guys this story because I want sympathy. I'm telling it because I know there's another girl out there trying to convince herself to stay in something that is slowly destroying her. And baby, this is your sign to get out. I don't care how scary it feels. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. Get out. Do what is best for you, because you are your first priority. I don't care if you got kids or whatever the case may be. You are your first priority, and that is it. Everything else is gonna get your overflow. But I'm just really happy and I'm really proud. I think I survived such a horrific and terrifying season of my life, version of myself, and now I'm rebuilding and I'm growing and I'm doing exactly what I said I was gonna do. So I love that for me. So of course, make sure you guys stay fabulous, stay cute, be extra, and always be you, boo. And I love you guys, and I'll see y'all in my next one.